My action research project will be exploring the concept of student collaboration and how it can be used to support conflict resolution and the student's ability to self-regulate. Before diving in, it is important to understand and explore some important terms that will frequently arise. They include collaboration, the action of working with someone to reduce or create something; conflict, a serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted one; and resolution, the action of solving a problem, dispute, or contentious matter. My action research project was influenced by my own experiences and core values. Through my experiences in Teachers College, and having compared these experiences with my own in my education leading up to this point, I found one major change that encompassed nearly all other aspects of the contrast: collaboration. Throughout my high school and undergraduate studies, rarely did my work have me working collaboratively with others, and when I did, it was usually for a major project or assignment, placing large emphasis on the importance and success of the assignment. It wasn't until I got to my postgraduate studies that I saw collaboration at the helm of nearly every single assignment and project. This discovery was complemented by my time and placement, where class time and seat work were constantly used to promote peer work and collaboration with problem solving among the students. What I noticed most during this time, though, despite the high-level successful work being produced, was the enjoyment and outside-the-box answers students produced when left to work through problems freely together. It is in these experiences that my core values would shape my action research question developed. How can collaboration be used to help students learn to self-regulate and overcome conflicts? When approaching this topic, there are obviously some questions and concerns that arose. As previously stated, I noticed that students found the most success and performed to the high standard when placed in a scenario where they could explore and test their own problem-solving techniques with peers. Contrary to this level of success, I found the greatest level of problem with the students was their ability to self-regulate and overcome conflicts with their peers. As an older outside party, I often found myself seeing their huge issues encountered on the playground as merely small issues that would be overcome and forgotten in a few minutes. But how could we teach the students to share this view? How could we stop the students from running and tattling for every single little conflict that arose? It is in this that a combining of their success in collaboration and their struggle for help at every small problem could possibly see one success story carrying over to the other. So what can we do about these topics and concerns? While viewing collaboration on conflicts is definitely a starting point for this concept, it is important to note that while the topic does not relate specifically to a subject area in the class, without a functioning class, other subject areas cannot be addressed. With this in mind, as a class learns to deal with conflicts and issues among themselves, they will begin to function and run more smoothly, which will require less teacher attention to regulating student behavior, allowing more focus on subject areas. Essentially, it's a domino effect that begins with the student's ability to work together for their own success. But why bother finding answers to these concerns at all? Why is this answer so important to classroom success? In short, teachers are wasting too much valuable class time mediating small fixable problems within the classroom. If students can learn to overcome small conflicts and issues with one another, this will help to free up instructor time to focus on other aspects of education, as well as prepare the students for the real world where a middle mediator will not be available for all of life's problems. Again, in summary, the goal is to prepare the students for the real world, where middleman mediators will not be available for all of their little problems. When approaching this action research project, some of the research questions I asked myself and used to further push my exploration were: 1. What is considered student collaboration? 2. Where is collaboration's place in the classroom? And 3. What are conflict resolution strategies? Starting with question 1, what exactly is considered student collaboration? Is it simply putting students in pairs or groups? Initially, my research began by looking into what is considered actual student collaboration and what is simply solo seat work being shared with a partner or group. The difference, in my opinion, stems from what is work what is work and what actually requires the students to explore, discover, fail, learn, and create with one another, in comparison to what a student could have achieved all the same by themselves. Through these preliminary questions, leading up to my major action research question of what impact does collaborative learning have on elementary school students, conflict resolution skills, I hope to answer and explore these issues, but also determine the method to which to solve them. That is, with the proper knowledge and enough experience and opportunities to explore collaboration, the students will develop their own methods to solving issues outside of subject areas, freeing up teacher attention for education. Now that we have explored exactly what collaboration is, where is its place in the classroom itself? Should students consistently be collaborating? Should it be treated as a special occasion for big, culminating activities? After determining what collaboration was and how it differed from seat work, it was important to place it in the classroom. I found that collaboration should be varied between large and smaller projects as to not make it commonplace, like everyday seat work, but also not place it on a pedestal where students would be afraid to explore and fail with their groups or partners. Finally, my research led me to the question, what are conflict resolution strategies? Since my action research plan is a two-tier system, which first sees the successful implementation of student collaboration in the classroom, and then sees that ability to self-regulate and work together transitioning outside the classroom to the real-world situations, it is important to explore just what are some conflict resolution strategies. Since my research question focuses on collaboration and its use in resolving student conflicts, it was important to ask the question of, what are some conflict resolution strategies? Since my research question focuses on collaboration and its the idea being that the students are made aware of these strategies when they begin to work with one another, and armed with this knowledge and the experience of exploration and problem solving in pairs or groups, they would have enough expertise and confidence to confront their problems together. Next are a few of the relevant sources I used to further explore these questions and come to the conclusions I did. Mind you, for time's sake, these are not all the sources I used, but just some of the more relevant ones. The article titled The Critical Role of Conflict Resolution in Teams, a close look at the links between conflict type, conflict management strategies, and team outcomes, explores different conflict resolution strategies and their outcomes within a team scenario. The study used multiple teams and explored the statements of anywhere from 30 to 50 individuals from these teams. Results from the study of 57 autonomous teams suggest that groups that improve or maintain top performance over time share 3 conflict resolution tendencies. The first being focusing on the content of interpersonal interactions rather than delivery style. 2, explicitly discussing reasons behind any decisions reached in accepting and distributing work assignments. And 3, assigning work to members who have the relevant task expertise rather than assigning by other common means. All of these findings can help to determine an effective and successful action plan for dealing with conflict in group scenarios and how to solve it. The next article, titled Engaging Conflict, Supporting Power Sharing Through Constructive Conflict Resolution, explores collaborative work in conflict resolution in a controlled study. Collaborative work combines multiple stakeholders, resources, and efforts to achieve common goals. Within collaborative settings, people from a variety of backgrounds come together to address complex social issues that are beyond the scope of any single community sector. Findings from this study indicate that the utilization of constructive conflict resolution strategies by councils may be a key factor to consider in effective facilitation of power sharing among members. The final resource I'll be exploring is the study titled Conflict Resolution and Peer Mediation in Middle Schools, Extending the Process and Outcome Knowledge Base. This article outlines conflict resolution strategies as outlined by both students as well as experienced teachers. The article also took the time to include the findings by peer mediators and disputants. The article promotes an emphasis on the mediation aspect of conflict resolution among students and peers. The final aspect of my action research plan I'd like to explore is data collection and how it will be presented. To help collect and present my data, I chose to explore standardized testing, collecting student work samples, and audio recordings. The first I'll explore is standardized testing. This method would typically be used diagnostically at the beginning of the study to gauge where students are at, and then could be done at the end of the project to see student progression. It would be given by the teacher to each student, and would be done so to give students the same standard questions relating to how they might overcome certain conflict situations. Since the situations are all the same, the students' answers should reflect their personal ideals and strategies. It would be administered diagnostically and at the end to determine success rate collected and evaluated by the teacher or whoever is running the action research plan. Next is student work samples. These would be collected periodically throughout the school year to check up on student progression and watch for any possible regressions. It would be done so to assemble examples of student collaboration and work and see where their strengths in group projects lie and where they are weaker. The samples, again, should be from times the students have worked in groups. How did they do? What was their success rate? And what could be done so throughout the school year to see where collaborative work is being successful and where it could improve. The instructor can gather samples of student work, group work, and see how they functioned, failed, or succeeded in group scenarios. As well, the instructor can evaluate the work themselves or have the students see where they went right or where they saw a problem. The idea is to note where collaboration was successful and where they had trouble. What are its strengths and where can it be improved? This will be done at the beginning of the action research plan for diagnostic evaluations. The final method I would like to explore is the use of student audio recordings. These would definitely be diagnostic in nature and as such would be used at the start. This would be done to interview students either individually or in groups and have them explain and walk through different scenarios. What was the issue here? How could you have resolved it? Who was at fault? And how can it be avoided next time? These would be conducted by the instructor with the students present and could be later evaluated in private by the instructor. When employing audio recordings, the instructor will interview students either one-on-one or in groups, or both, and run them through a variety of different scenarios and ask them to identify who is at fault, what caused the conflict, what is the conflict, how can it be overcome, and how could it be avoided. Situations will involve groups of students, and thus the successful answers will require them to collaborate and self-regulate to achieve success. Since this is a real-time recording, answers will be natural and less rehearsed. This can be done diagnostically or as an end experiment evaluation. Finally, I think it's important to consider that as an action research plan, this will encounter certain dilemmas. Since this is an action research plan in nature, this project will be evaluated almost exclusively by one individual. As such, it is subject to their own biases and interpretations of results and information. One possible means of overcoming this dilemma, though, could be the collaboration of educators in this project to help minimize the biases. With this in mind, some final thoughts that I have include, I think that in developing a student's capacity to regulate their own conflict resolution and be able to solve their own problems with their peers will be an invaluable asset to future classrooms. As well, I do not believe it is outside of the student's capabilities to see skills learned through classroom collaboration carrying over to real-world situations, such as conflict resolutions. Thank you.